Well, if you have been spending time outside, you have likely noticed a pesky presence. Yes, it is wasp season, and here to help us spot them and, of course, keep them away is Jason Constantini with Orkin Canada. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Lisa.
Okay, so it is indeed wasp season, and it's a particular wasp that we're dealing with right now as well.
That's correct. Obviously, there's many variety of species of wasps and hornets, but in particular, it is our little friend here, and it's going to be the yellow jacket.
Okay.
You can see here
we
with
have
a
specimen.
jacket,
a live yellow jacket.
Yeah, that's it. Wasn't too hard to collect there.
They're
too.
everywhere
Yeah,
right
they seem
now.
to be everywhere right now. So they are similar to bees in the sense that they're social, their social structure,
Okay.
and they're where they have a queen and they have many workers that help tend to the nest, and then within that nest, obviously, there's a lot of larvae, a lot of hungry larvae. And they have like a relationship. So they're not all bad though, of course, because they provide. So they're scavengers. So unlike honeybees and so on that are more particular to nectars and so on, these guys, well, they do pollinate, but not to the extent that a honeybee would. But the important part is that they're scavengers and they're actually a natural pest control. So they'll be taking care of things like spiders and aphids and so on in the yard. So this is very important because we're going to get back to this later. A lot of people have run into these because they're notorious for building the ground nests.
Okay, so let's talk about their nests that
that's
like
it
to
too.
build.
So again, like I said, there's social structure where they're going to have the multiple layers of honeycombed in there. This is where all the larvae is with the queen, many workers. So we can have an aerial nest. So this is your typical nest that you would see kind of hanging.
Right.
Also importantly, they're very adaptable. So you'll see other types will actually be behind siding. They could be in clutter and so on. So this is something we're going to get back to later. So very diverse nest structures there too.
And the sting of a yellow jacket, it hurts. It's not like a little poke.
No, it's definitely not too. So they obviously can be very aggressive, especially this time of year, and there's going to be a reason for that too. So we're going to probably talk about kind of the biology. So what happens is that obviously the workers are out, and so they're gathering all these proteins, but that's very specific because they don't eat it themselves. They're actually bringing it back to the nest, and it's the larvae that eat the proteins and so on to help them with their development, and eventually, obviously, they'll become an adult worker in that case there too. But in return, the larva actually secretes a carbohydrate, so it's like a sugary solution. So our little friends are kind of, so it's kind of like it's a working relationship within the nest.
So they bring them the proteins, and then they give them a little sugar treat.
And that keeps them going, and then obviously they can supplement, but not to a large extent. So what's happening this time of year is the nest has come to its peak. So it's a very large population of workers, but the queen is behavior starting to change. She's starting to get ready for next winter because they will all actually die off, but so she's getting, she's laying less eggs, less larvae, and she's into maybe making new queens for next year. And those are the ones that will overwinter to start the new colonies. So
that means less sugary treats for these wasps? Is that why they're going after our sugar?
You got it. So now we've got hungry wasps, and apparently hungry wasps are very aggressive wasps at this point. Obviously bold, so they're supplementing their diets with what's readily available, and apparently we provide very easy treats. So now we're going to get into, at this point, it's like, so what can we do then to kind of, so it's never going to be complete elimination, obviously, but we want to reduce. So, thinking long term, let's say, for instance, on a property, you're going to want to make the property less conducive to where they would nest and so on. So, things you can do for your home, and we're talking about is, any little gaps. Like I said, they're very adaptable with the nest. So any structures, any holes, any gaps and so on, you want to do that. Your yards, you're going to want to declutter as much as you can. Again, like leaf piles, wood piles, to try to reduce that as much as you can.
And then you can get, is this a feeder or a trap?
So this is basically, they're bait traps. So there's different varieties, and there's homemade ones. You can look on the internet and so on. So there's sugar traps. So you're looking at reducing the population, in the area. So there's just not as many when it comes to fall, because it's going to happen every year regardless to one extreme or another. So again, you can go on the internet. These are readily available. You can be purchased. You're going to want to remove, of course, any nests earlier on before they get really big on your property. So you can call Orkin or any reputable company.
remove
that's
those
it. To help
nests for
remove
you.
there too, if you're not brave enough, because again, they can be very aggressive
Yeah,
too.
absolutely.
Other things you can do is obviously there's certain types of plants and so on, like geraniums and so on. Again, an internet search will give you a variety of plants that they're less attractive to. And this is kind of thinking long term. I know there's fake nests as well as you can buy because they're territorial and they kind of represent, maybe a hornet, because a hornet is a natural enemy of we get into these bigger guys here
So
of
put
wasps
a
and
fake
so on.
hornet's nest
Yeah,
down
fake
and
hornet's
it'll
nest.
deter them.
Results will vary, of course, there
Perfect.
too. And then short term, for on the patios and so on, then there's essential oils and stuff you can use. Again, another internet search there can kind of help you with keeping them at bay as well.
Perfect.
Too.
Thank you so much
Oh,
for
you're very
joining us
welcome,
today
Melissa,
and
for
helping
sure.
us, learn why wasps are so pesky this time of the year, and of course, things you could do at home to kind of deter them from your property.